Thank you, Michael. All right, let's bring in our guests on the conversation. FG's implementation plan for food security and safety initiative. We have Professor Edwin Idu. He's joining us via Zoom from Makurdi there. He's a professor of Agricultural Extension and Communication, University of Abuja, and also National Coordinator, Rise Africa. It's actually from our Makurdi network studio there, not via Zoom. Professor Idu, thank you so much for joining us on Weekend File.
Thank you for having me from the food basket of the nation.
All right, Prof, it's good you emphasize food basket. It's good you emphasize talking food security and safety initiative. So the coincidence is just in tune with what we're talking about. We've seen federal government's efforts, on food security, and yet we're seeing crisis, with that aspect. What are we missing out as a challenge, as a nation?
Fewer farmers are going to the farm because of insecurity. We are having issue of insecurity that we have not really tackled in some part of the country. And because fewer farmers are going to the farm, we are not getting the needed output from the farm. We're also having the challenge of the rising price of inputs. The inputs, the farm inputs that the farmers are supposed to use, they could not get them, and so they could not produce as much as they could, or they should. Farmers are not getting the right input at the right time. This is June already, and farmers are just going to the farm. The inputs are not there for them, fertilizers are not there for them, and because of that, the all-year farming that we envisage, we could not achieve it. And because we are not achieving that, it became impossible or difficult for us to really get to where we are supposed to get to. But then, there are a lot of things that we could do and move forward. There are a lot of things that the federal government could do. We must move away from the mantra of saying that agric is business, and so farmers should face their business. Agric is not just business, but for our small-scale farmers, we should know that subsidizing input is the way out for them. All over the world, even in developed countries, inputs, especially fertilizer, herbicide, pesticides, are subsidized for the farmers. But here we are, and people have the mantra of saying that agric is business, farmers should face their business, and so they are not getting the needed support. Thank God the federal government is taking initiative of supporting farmers in that direction. That is a good one. And we believe that farmers, federal government and the state government should do more. Not just fertilizer, but the seed. We have seed insecurity right now. The seed companies are not getting tax break. And because of that, the cost of seed is high. So it's not just fertilizer. We talk of the seed, we talk of the herbicide, we talk of the pesticide. All this input needed to be subsidized for our farmers if we are going to get out of this quagmire. This is the situation we are finding ourselves. But we need to support, give more support to the fewer farmers that are going to the farm. Because most places, farmers are not going to the farm. Before now, backyard farming was left for the women. But now, men are going into backyard farming because they could not access the fertile land that are far away from the farm, from the houses, from the home, because of insecurity. So if we are going to do that, we must provide security for our farmers so that they could access fertile land far away from their houses. This is...
I like the fact you mentioned that the initiatives by the federal government is already yielding results. Part of the commitment also, we hear the president talk about collaboration and of course inclusiveness. If agricultural, the agricultural sector must be improved. Now, another aspect, you've talked about the seedling, aside the inputs, was the aspect of irrigation, investing in irrigation infrastructure. And of course, you also mentioned, giving loans, low interest loan to farmers. But sustaining this initiative is part of the challenge. What role can, other subnationals play to complement federal government's effort?
Yes, that we have suggested to government. We have advised government the issue of agricultural cluster development model. These private sectors can key in those models. Those models will provide the participation of private sectors, they will provide the participation of individuals and government so that there will be necessary synergy that will support the farming industry. Because if government alone is doing it, we cannot get where we are supposed to get to. So we must invite the participation of the private sector. And if they are going to do that, they need to know the model. What is the model on ground? We have advised and we have advocated for agricultural cluster development model. In that model, the farmers have their place, the private sectors have their place, the government have their place, the youths have their place. And so everybody is brought into that model, and then we could create that synergy that will support this, our farming system. Because that is what we need right now. We need to have that synergy, that support from the private sector, the individuals, and the government in that model.
Prof, there's also the outcry for food safety on another hand. Of course, when you're looking at the logistics, the services, the value chain, when you're handling these food items, and we hear of ripening of fruits, even plantain, you tell us, how unsafe that could be. Nigeria just, joined the rest of the world. That was on June 7 to celebrate the World Food Safety Day. So tell us the implication of that.
For our head, and we have gone around to do advocacy, to create awareness, even in the market, to rural women, that ripening, especially using chemicals for ripening, is dangerous for our head. And this advocacy and awareness should be a continuous program by government and also the private sector. Some of the people that are involved in this ripening method, they are not even aware of the health issues, the health challenge that is involved. So we must continue to create awareness, educate our women in the market, the rural women, we must educate them. And the people that are really involved in this, they are not hiding. Some of them, they have been found in the market. We need to prosecute some of them because they are endangering the health of the people. So advocacy, education must be continuous in this regard. We must continue to educate the women, the men, and the people in the market, especially the people that are involved in the storage. They must be educated. There must be continuous awareness and education so that they should also know that there's penalty for those that are involved in doing this so that the country will be safe.
Prof, and of course Nigeria has a bill on food safety and quality implementation, and advocacy of course is key. We'll pick up with the conversation after the break.